Now who's up for an experiment? How can I play with you?
What are you looking at? I'm over here. There's not a shadow elf alive who doesn't know me. And there's no knowledge that escapes me. I'll show you something cool. So, were you dazzled?
Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7 now today. Got some more express mail for you guys, and this time around we have quite a bit of stuff to cover. Of course, the Awakening update is the main thing that we're going to be talking about. However, thought it'd be nice to ease in with a bit of a preview of some of the new characters. I just showed this trailer at the beginning of the video, but ML Ludwig is going to be on his way, so all you Ludwig fans out there, you can rejoice, right? It's going to be quite cool. I also just love his animations. They're sick. This is I believe the character that's shown with Abigail, right, in episode 5, I think. So that's the person right here. Don't know her name. I haven't really been paying attention to the lore and stories, but yeah, her animation looks pretty nice. It's a giant vortex that sucks things in, and then you're just gone. Into a black hole you go. Specialty change Christy is going to be coming out, and boy, oh boy, you guys know that I love Christy. Have her built, use her quite a bit in Guild Wars, and she is actually pretty decent in RTA in situations as well. Now this unit over here, it took me a little bit while to figure it out, but looking at the drills that she has actually in her hair, and by looking at kind of the pose that she has here in this ultimate preview, I think it is going to be a Litica, like a limited Litica. I know this is associated with the side story, not this on screen right now, but this back here. This is all associated with the new side story. I think it's a limited side story coming out. So I'm a huge Litica fan. Litica is my favorite unit in the entire game, and I'm super stoked for this. This unit I actually don't know who it is, but she seems pretty interesting as well. Pretty nice little flowery, well, not anymore. The old drop a chandelier on them. The very, very elegant, flowery ultimate there, right? Yeah, so anyway, let's go ahead and jump in to the rest of the update. Alright, so as you can see on the screen here, we actually have quite a bit of express mail to go through. We actually did see the update preview, which is kind of nice. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start with the big elephant in the room, which is the Awaken potential update. We're going to take a look at the patch notes here that details the system. I actually went ahead and summarized everything for you guys because this is a lot of text and it can actually get a little bit confusing. So what we're going to do is going to take a look at the video because it actually provides us with some more visuals that we can reference while I'm talking about it. But basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be farming for a currency called the Erudite Light, and it is right here. This is the awakening that you can do for your characters. It's like a second tier awakening. This is not the stuff that you'll use the runes for. In fact, you will be farming Spirit Altar, but there's going to be an Epic Hell Spirit Altar. You farm the Epic Hell Spirit Altar up to 5 times a week, and it takes about 4 weeks, exactly 4 weeks, to get enough of the materials to be able to fully awaken a unit. So this is the thing right here called a Erudite Light, and this thing is farmable, but you're kind of gated, right, every single week in how much you can get. You need this to get the 6 awakenings that you see on the Ravi image in the background here. So right, you need, there's 6 awakenings just like you would 6-star awaken a unit normally. The 3rd awakening, that one that's Rainbow Spark, actually contains a new skill, some new ability that's going to be attached to the unit. And the example that they actually show us here is that Crow is going to be getting a escort buff. So his potential blossom here, this level 3 enhancement, is going to be giving him escort. And we'll talk about the imprint levels in just a bit. You need 6 awakenings for your character, and the 3rd awakening gives you a new skill. You can farm the Spirit Altar in Epic Hell 5 times a week for 4 weeks to fully max out a character. Transformations 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, well, you need these transformation stones, and then for the level 3, this rainbow one here, you will need what they call an Unleash Stone. The names don't really matter, and I think they're subject to change anyway, but just so you know, you're just farming 1 currency and you can do all of this. Now, the memory imprint is something that's a little bit controversial right now, and I will give you my opinion on it. I think overall, the whole idea of this kind of overturning the balance patch system might actually be really, really good. Okay, but let me get into details first. Because here's the part where it kind of gets people and kind of gets me too. This is a memory imprint level, and you get different effects based on your memory imprint. Now, this is the same memory imprint as the one that we currently have. They're just kind of reworking it, tweaking it, essentially. So for Crow, we can see that at base, at the end of the turn, he grants escort for a turn. That's probably what you can get by getting your potential blossom here, that level 3 awaken potential, right? And at B imprint, you get at the start of the battle as well, which is actually pretty huge. You basically become an ROL, right? You get at the end of every turn, you get at the start of the battle. A imprint and beyond essentially just gives you some stats, effect res, health, effect res, and SSS actually increases the barrier strength that you get from using your S3, which really minor in the grand scheme of things, right? Is not that important. It can actually help your crowd survivability a little bit. Overall, it's not going to be too impactful. However, I will say these base stat increases, though, to Crow are actually going to matter quite a bit. That's going to increase the health pool, defense pool. It's going to be really, really strong. So the base stat increases for these older units are going to be really valuable. What gets me is this imprint system. It's really reminiscent, for those of you guys who know, you know, if you play Genshin Impact or if you play Honkai Star Rail, this is Hoyo versus Constellation system. This is how they kind of gate part of a character's kit behind a paywall. Now, to Smilegate's credit, Smilegate is still, I think, one of the most generous companies out there when it comes to gachas, because I think they understand that this isn't a PvE game and that imprints actually do matter if you're going to have skills tied to them. So they are giving players a way to get memory shards in-game. People who are illiterate in the stove comments are like accusing them of being pay to win because you have to just buy imprints now, you have to go out and summon more, but that's not the case. You actually can get memory imprints through weekly quests. You can get 5 random shards through weeklies, okay? You can also get them through conquest points. You get selection chests, and I believe it's 300 conquest points for a box, and you can buy that once a week. You can also get it from the transmit shop. Now, the transmit shop, you can pay 20 silver transmit stones for random shards, or you can pay 6 gold transmit stones for a selector box. So gold transmits are obviously going to cut into your galaxy bookmark kind of currency. However, for older players, galaxy bookmarks aren't really worth that much, especially because you're probably getting ML3 stars anyway. The new Spirit Altars, by the way, look amazing. Now, that aside, weekly quests, conquest points, and transmit stones are all there to help you unlock the memories of these characters, get the shards, and what you can do is actually you can unlock more artwork and new voice lines for these characters, right? But we'll get into that in just a second here. So see, we can get these boxes through weeklies, through your conquest points, and through your transmit stones. And once you get these memory shards, you can actually go ahead and use it. You can imprint your character with it. As you can see, they're imprinting the Ravi with these shards instead of using slates and stuff, which you can now save for limited units or units that you really, really like that aren't available yet to get these slates for. And One, you can unlock new art illustrations, so this is the Ravi one that they have, and you can also get unique voice lines. I really hope that they start incorporating voice lines, much like ML Landy versus Pirate Captain Flan, where against certain characters or with certain characters, you get different voice lines in battle. I think that would be absolutely sick. It would require a lot of work on their end to implement it, but it really seems like Smilegate's kind of pushing for more lore. Maybe they're taking more pages out of Genshin and Honkai Star Rail's books, where the lore and the story really drive those games. And they see the potential in E7 with so many likable characters to kind of push the narrative for these units, right? As you can see, more voices and expressions, and more profile things, and more relationships, just building on that background that a lot of these units have. So I'm really, really looking forward to it, and I hope that this is successful. But that is mostly it for this Awaken potential update. I kind of summarized everything for you in that regard. Now, coming back to this, the main thing that people are having a lot of issue with right now, and I kind of have an issue with as well, is that these Awaken potentials, they're going to try to make new ones every 16 weeks. For the existing heroes, we intend to introduce Awaken potential for 4 heroes every 16 weeks, which makes sense because they're calculating it and they're making it so that it takes 4 weeks to farm, right? 4 weeks to farm for a character in the Spirit Altar and Epic Hell for the Erudite Lights to be able to get these awakenings. I really, really wish, I really hope that they shorten this window. If they make it, ideally, in my opinion, every 8 weeks, if it takes just 2 weeks of farming the Epic Hell to unlock the full awakenings for these characters, and every 8 weeks we get a batch of 4 more heroes that are added, I think that would be a very nice sweet spot. And the main reason is, I think people have mentioned, we have like over 150 5-stars in this game. It will literally take longer than the Smilegate's 10 or 20-year plan, whatever they have. It'll take longer than that for them to go back and fully buff people. And by that point, the ones that are buffed earlier on might end up being irrelevant again. So I don't really think that this is a sustainable pace. I think they definitely need to speed this thing up, and they really need to be careful with who they choose for this. I really hope they stick to actual like older units. You know, Ravi, Crown and stuff, I get it. They're in the base game. Go for it. But I hope they don't just go and be like, oh yes, we're gonna buff like newer units as well. Speaking of that, actually, they are going to be buffing new units, because what's going to happen is these new units that are going to be released, they are also going to have this memory shard system applied to them. Okay, so if I can find it here, let's see, they're trying to implement all these events and like web events and stuff that you can use to get more of these shards, but essentially what's going to happen is new units that you can get. So starting from the patch that this goes live, you can actually get these imprints and additional effects and stats for whoever gets released. I don't like that. The reason why I don't like that, I'll give you 3 of them. One main thing is that it'll be basically turning new units into Genshin type units, and that's one thing I hated, I despised about Genshin and Honkai Star Rail, is that when you got a character, you got like 60-70% of a character, right? When you summoned one, yeah, you got like 60-70% of the base character, and you had to get the imprints to unlock the rest of their kit, to make them their full potential. And I've always been a fan of just, when I summon somebody, I should be able to use them at their full potential. There shouldn't be anything limiting me, especially in a PvP game like this, there shouldn't be anything limiting me, right, in using them at their full potential. Now, I get like, hey, you get some base stat increases, cool. If somebody has more imprints and they get a bit more like Krau's self HP imprint, that's great. Or APOC Ravi using the team HP imprint for 2 units, great. That is fine. It's not completely game-changing. It's definitely going to shift the favor into my opponent's hand a little bit, but you know, over the course of several months or several years of playing, you're going to be accruing a lot of imprints, and you can compete with people, right? And they're not major. You know, a few percentage hit points and attack and crit stats is not going to make or break a unit in how they perform. But locking something like an escort buff and how it functions behind imprints definitely is. So when you release a new character, and you essentially lock parts of their kit behind imprints, it's not going to look too good. It's just not going to look too good. Also, now you're competing, now the old units that you have are competing for this Iridite Lights that you farm from Epic Hell Spirit Altar, which by the way is gated. You're going to be fighting with the old characters and new characters, right? And the new characters are probably going to take some priority for a lot of people. Nobody's going to go back and build their Ravi when the new character has a shiny new kit, does a lot of stuff, and gets bonus effects on top of it. Second concern is, well, what if they don't actually make the new characters really, really strong? What if they make them kind of weaker, right? Let's say they release them a bit weaker in their state. That's another downside, because now you have an incomplete character. So, and without fully awakening them with this system, the Awaken Potential system, you're not going to have a character at 100%. So it kind of ties into what I was talking about before. And the other thing is just that I don't know why that they're going to buff the new units with this system when down the line, you know, when they start to fall off and stuff, there's no way for them to kind of play catch up with that anymore, right? If a new unit gets released, let's say that new limited Litica unit gets released and you don't have the imprints for her, right? Let's say you do have the imprints for her. You get to imprint her up, great. Maybe in like 9 months, 12 months, she falls off in the meta and she becomes kind of irrelevant. You know, new characters are kind of taking her place. Maybe a couple years down the line, they're like, wait a minute, we should kind of buff her. But what are they going to do? They've already given her the Awaken Potential system. So I think that new units should be exempt from the Awaken Potential system, and this should be something that only buffs older units. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, that's gonna harm their bottom line. They want to sell some packs for people to summon with, and sure. But they also really want to push Epic 7 as a kind of esport, if you will. They've kind of been doing this whole thing with the E7 World Championships. They're even hosting one in China now too, with the same prize pool, by the way, as all the other servers got combined, which is ridiculous. But they're really trying to push this esport thing. They're trying to really hone in on PvP. They're really focused on RTA, and I'll be honest, they actually have one of the best PvP systems for a mobile game just out there. Sure, it's not the best because it's a gacha game, but I think that will take a bit more priority than just wanting to have that bottom line met. If I'm being completely honest, right? If they really, really cared about money, they probably wouldn't be hosting esports tournaments. Because esports tournaments are a big sink, a money sink. Anyway, getting a bit off track though, the system I think is fantastic. My recommendation to Smilegate is just focus on older units. Forget about newer units for this. Don't give the system to newer units. Release those units with full base kits, and in the future, if you need to tweak them, apply the system to them. But I do not want to see new units get released with this, because then it becomes Genshin, then it becomes Honkai Star Rail, then it becomes incomplete kits, incomplete characters, and no one able to really fully utilize those units unless you're willing to throw away, old units that you have. Like if I threw my Fire Litica in, sure, I probably have an SSS limited Litica, but now what's the point of having the old Fire Litica, right? She might get buffed in the future with this system. Who knows? So just that's the main thing. That's the main takeaway from it. I know some people have some really drastic opinions on this, thinking that's going to ruin the game. It's going to make the game super pay to win. I don't think so. I think this is a really good change in place of balance patches and stuff. Just raising characters' base stats, making it easier to gear them, making them more effective in combat, make it so they don't die as quickly or they deal more damage, right? Depending on their role on the team. I think it's really nice. So let's go ahead and move on into the rest of the updates. The rest of the things are actually pretty minor stuff. So besides the Awaken Potential update, we also have the Secret Garden. And this Secret Garden video here is quite interesting. So essentially, it's a new limited side story that's going to be coming out. It's the one where we actually see Litica in there, I believe. And I think someone said that Akades' sister, something like this, is going to be in this. So, oh yeah, so here we go. Akades' sister, yep, there we go. She's still in the nick of time. She actually is going to be, I think, a playable unit in the future, because she was in the preview, which is kind of nice. And we see Jenna, Akades, Lidica all there. So I think this is where the limited Lidica actually comes in. Hopefully Akades' sister is also not a limited unit. If they're going to continue with this kind of double limited like they did with the summer with Ocean Breeze Luluca and with Lethe, it's going to be a pretty big strain on people's bookmarks, right? And we'll talk about bookmarks and summons in a second, but definitely save your bookmarks for this. Limited units are almost always good. Ocean Breeze Luluca super relevant in the meta, and Lethe is still pretty decent. I know ML Shu and, you know, you have some injury units here and there that are kind of hindering her a little bit. Still really solid unit overall. And I think underutilized at the moment. She's actually just a hidden gem. But yeah, new side story is going to be coming out, and we see Lidica walking around. And then suddenly, oh no, what's going to happen? Yeah, so I think this is where we get the new Lidica. All right. And next we have the, oh, this is the wrong tab here. Next we have the return of the Moonlight Hero Recruitment event. Yes, that's right. You heard me right. You're going to be able to select another ML5 for free. So we just had the Moonlight connections where you could get characters from certain Moonlight Theater side stories that are going on. And now what we have is, starting from November, near the end of November, right around Thanksgiving time, we'll be able to get any ML5 that you want, including ML Kairon, which is kind of nice for those of you guys who want him. I've heard mixed reviews about what he's like post-buff, but yeah, same thing as last time. Do your dailies, do your weeklies, use energy, burn points. You can get the 5-star Moonlight recruitment event. I think it happens the same way. And yeah, you can go ahead and use point shops with your extra points. But yeah, it's the headhunting event, right? So there you go. Right here, you get to kind of just keep rolling and keep seeing if you're going to get the unit by recruiting with a certain number of coins. And then you can headhunt your units and then get them. So another minor change, I know I really quickly skimmed over that ML5 selector, but yeah, that's an ML5 selector. I'll probably make a video on like a tier list of what I think is pretty good for you guys to have. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments section down below. Love to make one for you guys. And this is a huge change because a lot of you guys like to bash on me in my crafting videos. And I think Smilegate finally just like heard, you know, heard my cries. I think for some reason Smilegate watches my crafting videos, because whenever I get featured on the official E7 channel, it's never my Guild War content or my RTA content. It's my crafting fails. But with crafting, I hated overfill EXP. I would always make sure that I was playing around with good and great successes, trying to maximize my EXP and charms. Well, you no longer have to do that, guys. To a degree. I would still not throw in everything, right, to just +9 something when you haven't tested its potential. Maybe you're +3 or +6 brick. We'll get into that in a future crafting video with this. But if you have overfill EXP, they refund you the EXP. It is such a revolutionary idea that no other game has ever thought of. I mean, even Epic 7, when you increase... I'm joking. In Epic... Because in Epic 7, when you increase your character's level with penguins, right? When you use penguins, you can get refunded penguins. I don't know why it took them this long to let you refund EXP for charms. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to be very, very excited for this. Crafting videos, I know you guys enjoy. Very niche audience of you guys, but you're very dedicated to the crafting videos. I'll make sure more of them are on the way. Yeah, so equipment powder here, it is super, super nice to see. And I think they're also increasing our artifact inventory, which is nice. I've never had problems with artifacts ever, but sure, we can get 300 inventory size if you ever need that. There you go. So I think the last thing that we have to talk about are a couple of minor things. So one thing is the custom group summon banner that's going to be coming out. You can actually, for those of you guys who are newer to the game or who missed out on some limited characters in the past, you can choose those 5 stars and summon for them here. Which is quite nice. So things like Landy, things like Seaside Bellona, you know, Holly Eufine, all the old like limited units. If you need them, you can summon for them. However, do keep in mind that we have that limited side story coming out, I think with Lidica and Akadi's sister. So it's definitely going to put a strain on some bookmarks here. If I had the choice, I'd prioritize the newer units because they're going to have that awakening potential applied to them, whereas these units, the older units, limited units, don't, right? So that's also another problem with the awaken potential being applied to new units. People are going to be really prioritizing those units over the older ones. And then I think the very last thing is that you guys do have a few little events here that are going to be going on. So we have 77 free Covenant summons that are going to be coming very, very soon, and we'll be enjoying our 3-star Transmit Stones and Powders of Knowledge. And the other thing is that we have a login check-in reward. So you get Unknown Slate, Bottle of Knowledge, 20 gold Transmit Stones, 100 silver Transmit Stones, and 2,000 Conquest Points. Those are really nice rewards. So if you guys are on the little hiatus and you're coming back just in time for the good stuff. But let me know what you guys think of this balance patch update, I guess, quote-unquote balance patch update, I guess the Awaken potential update, and let me know your opinions down below. With that said though, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe for more Epic 7 content. And until next time, take care.